Hello everybody, it's Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this dish towel. But you can use this stitch for whatever you want. I'll give you the multiple. It makes great scarves and blankets and whatnot. But it does look the same on both sides. So it's very easy to do. You know how to double crochet. You'll be able to do the rest. So basically it's just like double crochet chain spaces, and then we weave the strands of yarn through and tie them off at the ends, and then you cut them even, and that's it. You can use any color combo that you want. And for this particular one, because you can make these all different ways, but for this particular style you'll need 4 different colors. One light color that adds like kind of the, as you can see, kind of squares it off. All right, but yeah, 4 different colors. Let me go ahead and I'll show you the yarn that I used. All right, I'm going to give you a measurement real quick of mine. So without the fringe, it's 22 by about 14, and then with the fringes, it's 29 by 14. All right, this looks good. I like it. Like I said, it's really easy. So let me go ahead and set this to the side. I'll go ahead and talk about the yarn that I use for this particular project here. So I used KC Cotton, which is a Joann's brand. This was purchased online at Joann's. It is a 100% cotton, lightweight, number 3. These are the 4 colors that I used: Camper Van, Succulent, Grassy Knoll, and Cream. All right. There's 180 yards per ball, and it took, of the 2 darkest colors there, it didn't take a whole ball, probably about 130 yards maybe of each color here. This one, it took a whole ball, so about 180. And this one didn't take much, probably about 100 yards of this one. All right, so, and that is of lightweight, number 3, 4 different colors. And then I used a size F, which is a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, or 3.5, something like that. Either one of those will work. 3.5, 3.75. Either one of those will work just fine. But yes, that's the yarn, that's the hook, and why don't we go ahead and get started on this. All right, so this is done with a tartan stitch, and like I said, there's many different ways that you can do it, but for this particular one that I did here, it is a multiple of 14 plus 6, in case you want to make it bigger or smaller, or use this stitch for something else. But remember, the tartan stitch can be done many different ways. It can have many different multiples. Like you can just make small sections, large sections. So I'm only speaking of this particular one right here. You can make it wider, you can make it longer, you can do whatever you want to do with it. Make a pretty scarf. Yes, it would. I think so. But yes, that is the multiple, and I'll put all this information below in the description box. Let's do it. You got this. All right, so you want to start off with a chain of 62 chains. All right, now once you get your chain of 62, we're going to do a double crochet in the 6th chain from our hook. So we don't count the one that's on our hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in that 6th one, we're going to do a double crochet. Just like that. Now we're going to start the repeat of row 1. We are going to chain 1. We're going to skip 1. and we're going to double crochet into the next, like that. Chain 1, skip 1, skip, double into the next, chain 1, skip 1, double into the next. So we're going to repeat this pattern of chain 1, skip 1, and double into the next until we make it to the end of row 1. Alright, so I've come to the end of row 1, and you should have 29 of these chain spaces, and that includes this very first one here at the beginning. So that would be number 1, and then you count the chain spaces, 2, 3, 4, and you need to have a total of 29. Alright, so row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we are going to go back into this very first stitch, and we're going to work a double crochet like that. And we're going to start the repeat of row 2, which is this is kind of pretty much the repeat of the whole entire thing, except for you switch colors every now and then. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to double crochet into the next double crochet like that, and then we're going to chain 1 and double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1. See how easy this is? Double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet. So we're going to go ahead and repeat this all the way down. Oh, I got a knot in my yarn until we get to near the end here of row 2, and I'll show you how we're going to end this. Okay. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 2. Make sure you chain 1 after this double crochet here. And here on the end, you'll see there's a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is the only row that there'll be a chain 5 on, but you want to double crochet in the 4th chain of that chain 5, just like that. And again, you still should have 29 chain spaces. You should always have 29. So row 3, we're just going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to repeat what we just did, except for when we get to the end, we're not going to have that chain 5. We're just going to have double crochet in the last stitch. So we start off by chaining 1 and double crocheting into that first stitch, and then we chain 1, skip the chain space, and double crochet into the next double. Chain 1, skip a space, double crochet into the next double. And we're going to repeat this all the way to the end of row 3. And then we will chain 1 and turn. And we'll repeat it for row 4 and for row 5. So we'll want to do 5 rows of this particular color, making sure, or whatever color you're using, 5 rows of the first color. Making sure that you are keeping 29 chain spaces in between, or in the row at the end of every row. It's very important. So I'm on row 3 now, and I'm going to continue until I get 5 rows of this of my first color done, and then I'll meet back up with you, and I'll show you how we're going to switch colors. How we're going to switch the colors to make it look the way that it does. All right, so I'm on row 3, and I'm going to continue to row 5, and I'll meet back up with you. All right, so I got my 5 rows done of this particular color. So what I'm going to do is tie this off and I'm going to bring in another color. Now the color I'm bringing in is the lightest color of the bunch. This is what's going to form the outlines that you see to make it like have the square appearance there. So I'm just going to do one row of this. So this is row number 6, I guess. So just started in the same spot here. We can hide these tails later. Chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to double crochet into the first stitch. Chain 1 and double crochet into the next double crochet. Chain 1, double into the next double. So we're repeating what we've been doing the whole time, except for we switch colors, and we're only going to do one row of this color. So this is worked in groups of 5 rows of each color, and then with a 1 row of the lightest color in between to separate the rows. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row out here, and I'll meet back up with you at the end. Alright, so I made it to the end. Remember, we only do 1 row of the lightest color in between the 5 rows of the other colors that we use. So we can go ahead and tie this one off, and we can start a different color. So I'm bringing in another color, and now I'm going to work 5 rows of this color. Working it the same way that we've been working all the others. Chain 1, double crochet back into that first stitch, and chain 1 and double into the next double. So we need to do 5 rows of this color, and then after that 5 rows we'll do 1 row of our lightest dividing color. And then we'll switch to our other color and do 5 rows. So I'm going to continue this until I get my 5 rows of this color done. Remember, it's always double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet into the next stitch. And you always have 29 chain spaces. Alright, so this is what it should look like now. So we do 5 rows of one color, and then we do our lightest color, which will make the striping effect, 1 row. And then another 5 rows of a different color if you want to. And then the 1 row of the lightest color. And then another 5 rows of a different color. So I used 3 colors of green, and then for the 1 row in between them, it's the cream. It's the lightest color. So altogether, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows of the 7 sets of the 5 rows of each color. So as you can see, the color I started with is here. It's in the middle, and it's at the end. And then I did my 2 darker 1 row here, and then another row here, 2 of those. And then it's got 1 row of my lightest in between them. So in total, I have 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, 5 sets, 6, 7 sets of the 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of the 1 row of the lightest in between. So I didn't end with the lightest and I didn't begin with the lightest, all right? It's only in between. Now, after you got all that done, we're going to go through and we're going to weave in some yarn through them. So you can hide off all, tie off all your tails. And what you want to do is, I'm going to start with the lightest color on the end. And then I'm going to do 6 sets of the one we started with. Boom, boom. And then the lightest color again. And then 6 sets of one of the darker. And then the lightest. 6 sets of the other darker. And then the lightest. 6 sets of the one we started with. And then we'll end with the lightest. So, for the... You want to cut your yarn about 60 inches long. I know, that's pretty long, isn't it? Yeah. So about 60 inches, all right, is what you want. Okay. And for each section, we're going to use 6 strands of 60 inches. So there's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So like I said, I'm starting with the, to get that stripy square effect, you have to put your lightest color in between all your other colors. So I have 6 sets here, or 6 strands of yarn, and they're about 60 inches each. They don't have to be exact because we can trim them up later. Now you can use a crochet hook, or if you have a yarn needle big enough, you can try to put them on a yarn needle. I think I have one big enough. Well, maybe. I'll give it a go. How about that? So you want to go ahead and put them on your yarn needle, or like I said, we can weave them in and out with a crochet hook. All right. So we're going to start here on the end with the lightest color. And we're going to start, and we're going to be weaving through these holes here, see? And for the first one, we are going to start from the underside, like this. And then you go back through, like that. And then up the other hole, or the next space, and then back down the next space. So we're just going to do this all the way down. Leave some tail here at the end. So it's back up, and the next one is down. Like this all the way. So it starts to look a little bit, excuse my dogs, like that. Alright, so once you make it all the way across, you kind of want to pull them tight, make sure it's not twisted. And you're also going to notice that when you come to this end, when we started out, we started underneath this space, but when you end, you're ending over the top of this space. All right, it's supposed to be like that. Don't worry about that. But then you just kind of take it, straighten it. You're going to have some long tails on it. That's fine. We can trim those up as short as you'd like, or as long as you like. Just kind of, make sure it's not stretched, pull it a bit, make sure none of them's twisted, get it to your liking. All right, so we did that one row of that color. So up next, we have to do 6 sections of this next color. Since we did 3 rows of that, we're going to have 2 sets of it down here, all right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets. And again, we need 6 strands of approximately 30 inches of yarn. Now what we're going to do is we're going to keep this same method that we've been doing, but every other row, every other time we do a section of this set of yarn here. So this one we started under. Now the next one we're going to start over. So we're not going to start in the same spot. Every other spot, every other hole, we start the opposite. So this one we went under this. So for the next one, I got my next color, 6 strands. We're going to start opposite of that one. All right, but we're going to pull it through the same way that we did the other one, but we need to do it over 6 spaces. Leave some tail here, about the same amount as the other one or so, but we can adjust that at the end. And then we just weave it over and under, but you'll see that it's being woven in the opposite direction this time. Well, let me get it out of the same color. It's in the same color right now. And we just do this all the way down. Making sure every once in a while you just kind of give it a little stretch so it doesn't bunch up on itself. And you can see that it's going in the opposite direction as the last one, and that's what we want. And then the next row we'll go back to the same way we did the first one, and so on, just rotating, one starting from the underside and the next one starting from the top side. I'm going to do this all the way across to the end. Like I said, every once in a while, just give it a stop. Make sure you ain't losing too much yarn on this end, because you got to have enough left here for tail. A little stretch. Looking good. All right, I'll see you at the other end. All right, so you're going to notice on this one, this time on the end, we came out underneath, which is opposite what we did on this one. And that's what we want. So we're going to start again. Same color, because remember we have to do 6 sections of this color. So this would be number 1. So now I'm getting ready to start the second section of the same color. But I want to start it in the opposite direction that I started the last one. So this one went over. So I'm going to start this one from the underside. And we're going to do it the same way all the way down until I get 6 sections of this color made. Make sure you leave some tails. And remember to go with each section. You started opposite of what you did the section before. That way it gives that weave effect. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this with this color until I get my 6 sections of this color made. Remember, I'm on number 2 right now, and you start you start them opposite every other section. Every once in a while, you just kind of take it, give it a little stretch. Make sure your tails are staying about the same length. All right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish up my 6 sections of this color. All right, so if you look at the manner that this was done, so we did the white as I showed in the video, and then the 6 of this color, and then I went back to the white, and I did 6 of this color, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I did a white, and then the 6 of the other dark color, and then a white as a separation, and then 6 of the color that we did in the beginning, and then one last color of white at the end. So that's the way that it went. And as you go, you know, you want to kind of, you know, pull on them and make them all lay flat and stuff like that. Now once you get that done, I'll show you how you can tie off the ends. Alright. To tie off the ends, you can trim, we'll trim these up later, but okay. So we're going to tie them off kind of like we're adding a piece of fringe to it. So you take, so I got my white here, and you can see this one is laying on top. So take a white piece, and when it's laying on top like that, you have to go, take your hook and go from the underside of that square that white lays in, and you pull this piece through, but not all the way through, just to where you have a loop like that. See that? Kind of like you're adding fringe. Now you want to take your bunch of tails here and put them in the center like that. Now we're going to pull everything through this loop, including the two tails of the loop. But you want to keep those kind of intact. So I always kind of grab these first, and then I take these second, put them in like that, and then we're going to pull those two tails tight. Like that. Now, if you feel like you want it more secure than that, you can tie a little knot in the end. I don't do that, but you can if you want. And that is that. And like I said at the end, we can trim all that up. Now we move on to the next one. So we gather all the ones that are in the next square, and we're going to get the corresponding color. Now, since this one is going underneath, we go from the top like this, and then you grab your piece of yarn, pull it through, but not all the way, kind of like you're adding a piece of fringe. Get your ends equal. Okay, you got it like that. Now what you want to do is you want to pull them all through that loop. All your tails plus the two that are from this loop. But keep those kind of in a separate spot so you can pull on them. So pull them all through like that. Get that one out of the way. And pull those ends tight. Like that. And like I said, if you feel like you want it more secure, you can just put a little knot in at the end of these. There we go. Like that. You could take it like this and just tie a knot in it if you wanted to. Alright, so that's how that's done. Let's do it again. Alright, so we grab the next set right here, and you can see that it is going on top. So when it goes, when it's on top of the chain there, see, we got to stick our hook from the underside into that square. Grab our piece here, pull it through, but not all the way, like you're making a piece of fringe here. Sorry about that. I gotta get them out of the way. All right, from the underside, grab that, pull it through. Okay, get your ends even. And then what I always do is, see my bunch of tails here, I always pull this end over so it's in the center. Now all these have to go through that loop right here. Making sure you keep track of your two tails so we can tighten it up with those. Like that. And then you pull on your two tails And there it is. There's that one. And like I said, if you want to put a knot, since we had 6 strands and we just added 2 more, you could do 4 on one side and 4 on the other and tie a knot like this if you want to make it more secure. I'm not going to do that though. I think it's fine. But that's up to you. Alright, now we can move on to the next one. Remember, we'll make sure you can trim these all up at the end, so the same size. Move everything out of your way. Alright, so this time it's going under the chain, and it's going under the chain. Your hook goes from the top into that square, and you grab your piece of string here, or yarn, sorry. Pull it through, and now all these have to go through the tails of this that we just did right here, and all these tails all got to be pulled through. Keeping track of those tails here so we can pull them to make it tight. Pull it tight like that. Like that. There we go. Alright, let's do it again. Just make sure everything's out of your way. This one is on tops of the chain, so we have to go into the square from the underside. Grab your yarn, pull it through, but not all the way, just to where you have a loop. Like that. And then take your pieces. When it's on, like doing this one like this one, I always put it over like that. Now these all have to go through that loop, keeping track of the 2 that are part of the loop so we can pull it tight. Like that. And then pull it nice and tight. There it is. Alright. And again, this is what we're going to do the whole way down and on the other side. So this one's on the underside, so we go from the top. Grab our piece of yarn, pull it up to where you have a loop. And take your tails. And the tails of this loop here and all of these right here, they all got to go through. Keeping track of the 2 tails so we can tighten it up. And I lost track. There they are. Alright. Pull it nice and tight. Like that. That's it. That's what we're going to do all the way down. And then when you get done, you just, with this one, then you move and do one with the white yarn. And you do the same with this color yarn and keep going until you get to the end. And then you can trim them up to whatever length you'd like. And then you do the other side the same way. Alright, that's it. Once you get it done, you can cut them even, which mine aren't very even, but that's it. That's all there is to it. I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial. I think it's super cute. Turned out nice. Same on both sides. It looks good. Make a nice gift as well. So, don't forget to hit that like button if you did enjoy. Leave me a comment below. Always helps me out. And I'll see you on my next video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Alright? Take care. Bye, guys.